Hello everyone, my name is Mama Robin. So if you've been here before, thank you for coming back. And if you're new here, welcome. Okay, today is an infamous birthday. Or actually, not today, I'm wrong. Tomorrow is an infamous birthday. Tomorrow is Chris Watts' birthday. But I'm going to be busy tomorrow. So I thought I would drop this video today. So, like I said, tomorrow's Chris Watts' birthday, which brings me to talking about the case that everybody and their brother is still talking about. And as it gets closer to August 13th, it's going to be more and more of a thing. But I'm not here to talk about the case per se. I'm here to talk about the channels that have been covering the case. I'm going to have some good things to say, and I'm going to have some not so good things to say. So here goes. I was watching a channel I'd never seen before. I was watching it about a month ago. And the name of the channel is Crime and Crafting. And the name of the person, the host, is, I do believe her name is Spunky Brewster. She's not that well known of a channel, I don't think. But she's more well known than I am. So at this rate, everybody is. But anyway, Spunky Brewster. So I was watching a video about Chris Watts, or about the Watts case, on her channel. And she starts out a video going, I'm here to pick a fight. My ears perked up and I went, ooh, really? A fight? Who are we fighting? Give me a second. I'm like, really? A fight? Who are we fighting? So with that being said, my ears perked up and I was really listening then. And she said, I'm here to pick a fight with all the channels that bash Shanann. And I went, oh good, here I'm here for this. So she talks about 3 channels. I honestly do not remember the name of the third one, but I do remember the name of the first 2. So after the way she talked about the channels, these were channels I had never seen before. I'm sorry, I'm moving around quite a bit. I can't get comfortable today. But these were channels I'd never heard of before. So I thought, when I got done watching hers, I thought, I want to go check them out. See if she's full of shit or if these channels were really that bad. So the first one she mentioned is Meredith's 2 Cents. Oh, dear God. That woman, please. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. I watched a few videos of hers, and that was really all I could stomach. Because this woman's actually just mean. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, we're talking about the truth about Shanann, so that's not bashing. It kind of is. It depends on which direction you take, how you present the truth, and which direction you take it. However, that being said, it kind of is bashing in my opinion. But I went to Meredith's 2 Cents. Oh, Miss Meredith. Oh, good Lord. I hope nobody ever puts your life under a microscope when you die. Jiminy Christmas. And had she talked about things or bashed things that were pertinent to the case, I kind of could get it. Maybe. But she was horrible. She made fun of Shanann's hair. She made fun of Shanann's makeup. She said she wore too much makeup. She made fun of Shanann's fingernail polish. A lot of women at that time were doing like an accent nail, like all the nails were red except for one, and one was white or whatever. That was very popular at that time, and a lot of women still do it. I still do it occasionally, depending on how festive I'm feeling, But that's neither here nor there. So we made fun of Shanann's hair, we made fun of Shanann's makeup, we made fun of Shanann's fingernails, we made the joke about, oh my goodness, her nail salon must have run out of the polish and had to do it a different color. Maybe she should spend more money on her nails, and then would turn around in the same breath and go, but she already spends too much money because she's bankrupt. Miss Meredith, Miss Meredith, Miss Meredith. I hope and pray to God nobody puts your life under a microscope when you die. Gee, many Christmas. Then we went on with things like she shows too much cleavage. She's not showing enough cleavage. For the most part, it seemed like Miss Meredith was jealous of Shanann. Of course, if you were to say something to her, she's going to deny it. No, I'm not jealous of that. skanky whore. And I do believe, if I'm not wrong, and I may be, but I do believe in one of the videos she referred to her is skanky whore. But I could be wrong. I might be just misremembering it, as I said, because that happens. I know, I'm getting old. But anyhow, so there was Meredith's 2 cents. Now, there was a few videos where she did point out more pertinent stuff to be upset about. But first of all, none of it was her business. And second of all, actually none of it was anybody's business. And second of all, not pertinent to her death. And at the same time, as much as people say, oh, I'm not victim blaming, she was. She was blaming Shanann for her behavior, saying her behavior is why he killed her. That she belittled Chris, and that's why Chris killed her. No. No. That's not why Chris killed her. But we're going to get into that. So, with that being said, after watching a few things of hers, I was like, nope, I can't do any more of this. This woman's just mean. Like, she's just mean. We went on to another one she mentioned was Neek's Peaks. So I went on to Neek's Peaks. I watched a few of hers. Again, we got another somebody that I hope and pray to God nobody puts their life under a microscope when they die the way that they have her. Now, Neek's Peaks is a little better. Like, the attacks aren't quite as personal. They are still fairly personal about wardrobe choices and her working for an MLM and blah, 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 using baby wise and this and that and the other. Again, Shanann's a grown woman. She's dead, thanks to Chris. She didn't deserve to die. And almost everybody starts out by saying, well, I'm not victim blaming or I'm not bashing her. And then they go on to either victim blame or to bash her. I guess they don't know what those words mean. Maybe they don't know what victim blaming means. Maybe they don't know what bashing means. Maybe they don't really know as much as they think they do. But back to Neek's Peaks. She wasn't as bad. She says she's not victim blaming, that Shanann didn't deserve to die. But then she kind of goes into blaming her about her finances and her MLMs and this and that. The other may have drove Chris into killing her. Again, that's not why Chris killed her. And we will get into that. So there was Neek's Peaks. There's victim blaming there. There was a little bit of bashing. Not really. It was a lot more of victim blaming. And then saying, but I'm not blaming. Okay. But she did. And like I said, some of it was more pertinent than her fingernails or her hair or whatever. But still, didn't really have that much to do with the case. She talks about what a bad parent Shanann is. And she talks about how she was... the MLM drove them into bankruptcy and this and that and the other. And some of those facts might be true. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and argue and debate it. Because we both know Shanann's life was online. But only the good parts. She never showed the bad parts. Most people don't. Or at least she shared what she thought might be bad, but not so bad that they would hang her. So let's be honest, we really don't know anything about their life other than what we've seen on Facebook. And other than what Chris has said, and Chris lies a lot, so we can't really, with Chris, you got to pick and choose. You kind of got to listen to what he says. And you kind of got to decide, is Chris full of shit on this subject, or is Chris telling the truth? And in most cases, you're going to decide he's full of shit. But there are a few things he has said that I feel like he was being truthful and honest. But again, none of them, while some of them may be correct, and some of them might be somewhat pertinent, they weren't pertinent to the story, or they're not pertinent to her death. They weren't why she died. Yeah, her MLM might have been a piece of shit way to earn a job, but she believed in it. That's just it. A lot of people say, well, she scammed. She intentionally... No, she didn't. I don't believe that for a minute. I'm not a shiner, as they're referred to, but I'm also not a basher. I also realize that she made mistakes, like all humans do. We're all human and we all make mistakes. Isn't that lovely? But I also realize that she's human and made mistakes. Maybe she didn't raise her kids the way I would have, but I've never seen any proof of child abuse. Not one bit. I do heard people make comments about, well, that baby wanted a cupcake and she wouldn't give her a cupcake when she wanted it, or whatever their videos about. Well, that's because she used Baby Wise, and she had those children on a feeding schedule and on a sleep schedule. And they have proven that a lot of that, the feeding schedule and the sleep schedule, causes more productive children. That doesn't mean she's being abusive. Just because you don't agree with the way she raised the children doesn't mean she was abusive to them. I don't believe in my heart ever that woman was ever intentionally abusive. So unless you can bring me receipts, actual freaking receipts, which I know you can't, but unless you can bring me receipts, not theories, not speculations, not rumors, actual fucking receipts, I don't believe she abused those children, and I don't believe she abused Chris. Now, was she overbearing? Yes. Did she own up to that? Yes. Was Chris a pussy? Yes. All those things are true at the same time. But I still don't think that made her an abusive wife or an abusive mother. We all can be overbearing sometimes. We're all capable of it. We're all capable of making mistakes with our children. We've all done those. So to put her under a microscope for the way she raised her children really isn't fair. Because, again, for a lot of these women, they have children themselves. And I think if some people went into their family and put a microscope on them and talked about the way they raised their kids, they would find some things that aren't favorable either. And again, there are things that she did that I don't agree with. I don't think she should put her kids in front of the camera at all, really. Unless it was a more intimate situation where she's literally just saying hi to friends and the kids want to say hi, or their friends want to say hi to her. But when she was selling, which was probably 90% of her time online, those kids shouldn't have. I don't agree with that. But that was her life, and that was her kids. And I don't think it proves abuse. Should she have put Chris on there if he didn't like it? No. But Chris should have spoke up and said, hey, I'm not crazy about this. I don't like being on camera, and you know it. Stop doing it. Again, he was a pussy, and he didn't. And she, knowing as well as she did, she should have been able to read him, or at the very minimum, read the room. And she didn't always. Those were mistakes. Those were mistakes made. Now, had she lived longer, she might have learned from those mistakes. And I'm not going to sit here and say all MLMs are bad, because Mary Kay Cosmetics is an MLM, and I used to make pretty good money at it. And I wasn't scamming people. And I honestly don't believe Shanann intentionally scammed anybody. I believe she believed in Thrive. I believe she believed in it. I do. Do I think she invested too much back into it? Yeah. Do I think that she used the social media too much for what she was doing? Not necessarily. Do I think she put her kids in front of the camera too often? Yes. Do I think, like I said, that she shouldn't have put Chris in front of it? Yes. But again, he should have been an adult. The kids couldn't really speak up. Chris could. He just didn't. That's not her fault. That's his fault. But do I think any of those things are why she's dead? Absolutely not. So while Neeks Peaks likes to bitch about the money she spent, the bankruptcy, and there's abuse because she didn't feed the kid the cupcake and whatever and whatever, 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 and whatever. Oh, and both of them like to cover Nutgate. Oh, dear God. Nutgate. Are you kidding me? Wow. I don't believe anything Cindy said. I really don't. I'm not blaming Shanann wholeheartedly either. I think, actually, that's not entirely true. Let me back up. I'm gonna restate that. I believe some of what Shanann said was true. I believe some of what she said was mostly true and slightly exaggerated. And I believe some of what Shanann said was flat out lies. But that goes for Shanann, Cindy, Jamie, everybody involved in Nutgate. I believe there was mixtures of full-on truth, mixtures of mostly truth with some exaggeration, and I believe there were some full-out lies. But Cindy Watts has made it perfectly clear she didn't like Shanann from the very get-go. And she didn't have good reasons for not liking Shanann. It wasn't like she didn't like Shanann because Shanann had actually done something horrible in her past. No. She didn't like Shanann because she thought Shanann faked her illnesses. That's another thing that's covered with Neeks Peaks, and it's also covered with Meredith's 2 cents. She didn't believe she thought she was faking illnesses to get out of doing work. Don't buy that, because she was a go-getter. She worked hard. She, She's attacked for, oh Lord, she's attacked for so much. Like I said, we're doing the MLMs to start with. They're not all scammy, and I don't believe she thought she was scamming people. She's attacked for having her nails done while they're having bankruptcy problems. She was attacked for her money problems. She was attacked literally for everything, and none of this blame falls on Chris. Oh, but it should. Again, Chris was a pussy, and I'm sorry with everybody that disagrees that, but and then like I said, there's Nutgate. Going back, I'm sorry I keep digressing because I got so much on my mind right now. I got so much going right now. So much on my mind, and I don't even know if I'm going to get through it all today. I may have to do a part 1 today and a part 2 tomorrow. But back to what I was saying. So, Nutgate, Cindy Watts. I believe there was some truth told. I believe there were some lies told. I do believe that she did push Shanann. I do believe she intentionally did things. Like left stuff out for the kids to get into. Because I know for a fact she didn't believe those kids were allergic. So I also know for an absolute fact that she wanted to prove it. She wanted to prove Shanann wrong. And I think that Nutgate was part of that. I also think she knew about Nicole Kessinger by that time. And I think she was trying to help Shanann out of the family so that Chris could get his divorce and hook up with Nicole. Little did anybody know Chris had no intention of getting a divorce. I don't know if way back then if murder was premeditated, but it became premeditated. And I've always believed that the girls had to go. And we'll get into all that in a little bit. But Nick's Peaks gets into a bunch of stuff that really has nothing to do with the case. She picks on Shanann for everything. She accuses her of being a scam, a fraud, a liar, this and that. The other, she says, "Oh, I'm not bashing her. And I don't believe in victim blaming." But then she turns around and bashes her and somewhat victim blames because she says in a few videos, at least, some of the ones I've seen, that if Shanann hadn't been so abusive to Chris, had Shanann not done this with Chris, had Shanann not done this with Chris, he probably wouldn't have killed her. Well, I got bad news for you, Nick's Peaks. He would have killed her anyway. It would have happened regardless. And I will cover all this. So with all this being said, with all this going on, poor Shanann. And she's not around to defend herself. But I believe Nutgate was supposed to kind of push Shanann out more so that he could get his divorce, so she could say, "She treated me so badly, Chris, you need to leave her and go find you a new woman," knowing full well that there was, the very minimum, was an emotional affair going on with Chris. Little did anybody know he was going to kill her anyway. But I digress. So from Nick's Peaks, I don't remember the third one, but I found a third one on my own that I think is pretty bad. Unjustified. Oh, good Lord, these people. And they claim all they're doing is putting out the truth, and they're sorry if the truth hurts people. Great. Do they have any proof of this truth? Do they have receipts? To the best of my knowledge, for the few, and I've only watched a few because they just made me so bad I couldn't watch anymore. But from the best of my knowledge, for the few videos I've seen, they didn't have any receipts. They had a lot of theories and speculation, but no receipts. I'm waiting for any one of these people that has receipts for the things they bashed her for. Do they have proof of child abuse? No. Do they have proof of... Do they have receipts for... child abuse? No. Husband abuse? No. The MLM, her being intentionally scamming people? No. Do they have proof of the bankruptcy? Yeah, there's definitely proof of that. There's proof of that. You don't even have to say that to me. But as far as the stuff like the abuse and stuff, if you're going to accuse people of it, bring receipts. That's my best advice. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just telling you what I saw in these videos. Now remember, so far the three I've mentioned are, so you can go find them on your own. I might put the links in the description if I remember when I'm doing this, and I might not remember. Who knows? But it's Meredith's 2 cents, Nick's Peaks, and Unjustified. That's already 3 that I'm covering so far. Now, Unjustified doesn't seem near as bad as Nick Peaks, but they're still bad. they're still very, very, very bad. Um, they talked about her baby wise. Yeah, a lot of people don't agree with baby wise, but just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean it doesn't work. And it also doesn't mean that it's considered abuse. One of the things people talk about was, well, she used to give her kids Tylenol or Benadryl every night. No, there's no proof of that. Yes, there is proof that she occasionally did it to help them sleep. But you know what? And you'll sit here and say, well, I don't know if any doctor that's going to suggest that. My own kid's pediatrician used to say, if you can't get them to sleep, you can give them like a dose of Tylenol or a dose of Benadryl to help them sleep. Don't do it often because then you're abusing. But occasionally, giving them a dose of Tylenol to help them sleep works. So did she do it occasionally? Absolutely. Did she do it every night? I don't think so. And unless you can prove it, and you can't, so unless you can prove it, I wouldn't even bring it up. They bring up the MLM. They also attack the MLM. Yes, MLMs are bad. Most of them, but not all of them. Like I said, I've done Mary Kay myself. They talk about her being a scammer? No. I don't believe she intentionally scammed everyone. I honestly believe she believed in the product, and I believe that she believed she was helping people with that product. And I believe that's why she was selling it, because she believed in it. Given time to learn, given time to grow, live a little longer, learn a little bit more, she might have changed some of her ways, but she wasn't given that opportunity. Chris saw to that. We're going to move on from Unjustified. Now we're going to get into ones that are actually pretty decent. Do a pretty good job for the most part. Michelle After Dark. I've seen a few of her videos. Pretty on point. Covers some of the truth without bashing Shanann. Plunder. Another good one. Covers a lot of the truth without bashing Shanann. Amber from ATS News. Amber Truth Seeker. Does a really good job. She covers the truth lightly without bashing Shanann. Oh, but another bad one. Watts the Obsession. Oh, Lord. Kelly. Watts the Obsession. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I've watched quite a few of her videos. Now, she also is another one to say, I'm not bashing Shanann, and I'm not victim blaming. She didn't deserve to die. But then she goes on to imply that she deserved to die. That if she had behaved differently, or if she hadn't been so mean to Chris, or if she hadn't abused the children, or if she hadn't been doing the MLM, or if she hadn't done a lot of the things that she was doing, Chris might not have killed her. But the comment that Kelly made on Watts the Obsession, the comment that Kelly made that took the cake from me, is when she looked at everybody and she said, I know I'm going to face some backlash for this, but I feel like I know Chris better than anybody. Well, I got bad news for you, woman. You don't. You don't know him better than anybody. Nobody knows him better than himself. And most of the time, he doesn't even know himself that well, because he is that far gone. He is that messed up. We'll get into that. So she says that all blatant and boldly there. And I'm like, you'd have to be married to somebody like Chris to know Chris. And she says, well, I'm a behavior analyst, or whatever it is she says she does. I think she says she's a behavior analyst. And I've studied more videos than anybody else. And I know this, and I know way more about Chris than anybody. Honey, child, you don't. You don't. You think you do. And you have a right to your opinion, but I got news for you. You don't. You'd have to live with a Chris to know a Chris. But I'll get to all that. So, there's Watts the Obsession. Now, I don't think Kelly sets out to bash. I think she does set out to bring up the truth. And I do think that she sets out to explain, if Shanann didn't do this or didn't do that, she might be alive today. And she might be right. I mean, she's not, but she might be right. With all that being said, Kelly at Watts the Obsession, you don't know Chris as well as you think you do. And I'm sorry to tell you this, but there's no way you ever could. You can watch all the videos you want. You can participate in live streams, and you can be a behavioral analyst, but unless you're a psychiatrist, a therapist, or has lived with somebody like Chris, you don't know him as well as you think you do. But I think she means well. Now, she says she's not victim blaming, and she says she doesn't like bashing Shanann. And when people start victim blaming her, she gets mad at them. I've heard her get mad. But then in her own breath, turns around and does the same thing they're doing. But I honestly believe she means well. So we're not going to pick on her. We're going to watch. I'm not really picking on anybody except for Meredith and Neek's Peaks. And as we go down, so we went through Watts. We went through Meredith's 2 cents, which is the worst of the worst. Neek's Peaks, which is pretty bad. Unjustified, which is almost as bad as Neek Peaks. Watts the Obsession is almost as bad as Unjustified. Not quite, because I really do think Kelly's intentions are good. I just think she needs to present it differently. Then we move into Michelle After Dark. I've only seen 1 or 2 of hers. I really have. I've heard others hers reviewed, but from what I can tell, she tries to stick to the facts. She does try to bring up the truth without bashing. That's also where Amber from ATS News comes in. That's where Amber comes in. Amber, ATS News, her channel's really good. She brings up a lot of facts without bashing Shanann. Okay? So, ATS News, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the top tier ones. One of the best. Chef's kiss. I think she does a pretty good job. Let's see. Who else have I watched a lot of? I keep up with her. She does a pretty good job. Now, there's another one, and I always get this name turned around. It's either the Huddle House or House Huddle. If you can't find it in one way, look it up the other. Huddle House or House Huddle. She's very good. She is amazingly good. Like, she does a great job. She's a little bit better than ATS because she spends more time explaining the stuff that people are theorizing or rumored about. And she explains it, and she takes the time to learn about it. And she's a nurse. I do believe she said she was an RN. So she takes the time to explain a lot of it from, or at least on the kids' perspective, on what Baby Wise is and why people find it wrong, but why it actually works, and this and that and the other. So she does a phenomenal job. A couple of my favorite people have covered it. Swoop has covered it. She did a pretty good job. She pretty much stuck to the facts. She got a few things a little bit wrong, and I don't remember what they are off the top of my head, and I can go back and rewatch her stuff, and I can come back and point out, because this is going to be a part 2. We're going to do part 2 tomorrow, because I'm running out of time here. So, Swoop did a good job, and so did Bailey Sarian. Then there was, all of them did, now there are 3 or 4 more that did phenomenal jobs. Like I said, Huddle House, House Huddle, whichever one, did a phenomenal job. Real Killers, oh my God, he does a very good job. He also is very good at bringing up the truth without bashing Shanann. Matter of fact, he not only brings up the truth, but he uses the truth to defend her. Dreading does a phenomenal job. And one more that does a phenomenal job, Beyond Criminal Minds. These are all the channels. Now, the only ones that Crime and Crafting talked about, Spunky Brewster talked about, was Neek's Peaks and Meredith. She talked about a third one, but I can't remember what it was. I didn't catch it. So, I'm going to do a recap of what I think are the worst channels about bashing Shanann to the ones that are the better channels. The worst one is Meredith's 2 cents. If you like bashing Shanann, I suggest you go watch her. Thumbs up. Go for it. If you don't like it, if you're a shiner or you just don't think she's in the right, stay away from it. The next worst one would be Neek's Peaks. Neek's Peaks is pretty bad. Not as bad as Meredith 2 cents. Pretty bad. Then your next bad one is Unjustified. Unjustified, they claim it's all truth and it's all facts, but they can't bring receipts. And then we got Watts the Obsession. Again, I don't think Kelly I don't think her intention is to bash Shanann, but I think she needs to present the truth better. Not change it necessarily. I'm not asking her to change the truth. I think she should present it a little better. Michelle After Dark. Amber, ATS, Amber Two Streaker, ATS News. Great job. House Huddle, Huddle House. Phenomenal job. Swoop did a good job. Bailey Sarian did a good job. But then there's Real Killers. There is Dreading. And there is Beyond Criminal Minds. All 3 of those are phenomenally well done when it talks about Chris Watts. And let's like I said, you want. And then let's not forget Zwoki. Zwoki's a good-hearted person. I believe he tries. I do. I believe he tries. But I believe he's easily misled. So that can be problematic. But he tries. He's a good person and he tries very hard. And he wants to get the truth out there. He wants the truth. So today we just talked about some channels. That's all we did today. Tomorrow we're going to get into some facts. So I'm going to end this video here. This is part 1. Tomorrow will be a factual day. I guarantee it. And I'm going to get into some facts. I'm going to talk about some things. And we're going to see where it all lands. Y'all have a... If you truly like this video, then please like and consider subscribing. If you don't like it, please like it. Hit the like button anyway. Because it's an absolutely free way to help me. It helps me get my words out there. It helps this video reach people that might like me, that might want to see more of these. So if you genuinely liked it, please consider subscribing. And again, if you really didn't like it, please consider the like button anyway, because it does. It's a free way of helping me. It helps me get out there in that algorithm, get that algorithm dance going, and brings people to me that might want to see me. So again, tomorrow is part 2. I want everybody that sees this to have a beautiful and blessed day, and I will be back tomorrow. Peace out.